On today's menu, an excellent version of a childhood classic, a delicious tomato and tofu. Lei ho ma, that's how's it going in Cantonese. Welcome to Young Man Cooking, I'm Yeung. I was born in Hong Kong, and when my family immigrated here, I was very young at the time, and naturally, after immigrating here to Canada, we didn't really have a lot of money growing up. One of the dishes I recall having a lot of when I was a kid was this humble egg and tomato dish that was just served with plain white rice. It doesn't require a lot of ingredients, and it takes very little time to make. We'll be making a plant-based version of it today, so there are a couple more steps required, but keeping an open mind, it's very similar to the traditional dish in the sense that it's absolutely delicious. Before we get started, a big thank you to Shopify for sponsoring today's episode, which I'll talk more about in a little bit. Of course, as always, let's get started with the recipe first. Preheat the oven to 375. Pat dry about 350 grams of extra firm tofu with a paper towel. Slice the tofu in half, then break them into bite-sized pieces. The irregular shape will give it a more rustic visual appeal. Pinch of salt. 1 teaspoon turmeric. This here is a bit of a specialty item, but you should be able to find this online. This is a Indian black salt. It's not super salty, but it smells like straight up sulfur. It's quite fantastic. Some of them come in this rock shape, so you just have to break it down to powder before we use it. About 1.5 teaspoons worth of black salt. Use a pestle and mortar to crush into powder. The black salt is a bit of a unique ingredient that will add an extraordinary eggy flavor to the tofu. Sprinkle the black salt onto the tofu. Drizzle of avocado oil. Give it a toss to mix. Spread the tofu onto a baking tray lined with parchment paper. Bake in the oven for about 6 to 7 minutes. While the tofu is baking, chop 2 sticks of green onions into batons. Two tomatoes, chopped. For this recipe, it's ideal to use vine tomatoes, for they have a little bit more juice than, say, Roma tomatoes. Sauté pan. Medium heat. 1 teaspoon avocado oil. Tomatoes. Sauté for a few minutes. Season with a pinch of salt, 2 teaspoons cane sugar. Give the pan a stir and cook for another few minutes. Use the back of a spatula to crush the tomatoes. This will soften the tomatoes and create a really robust sauce. Half cup water. Green onions. Give the pan a stir. Make a slurry by combining 1 teaspoon of potato starch with a couple teaspoons of water. Add the slurry to the pan. Give the pan a stir. The little bit of slurry will give the sauce a lot more body. Add the tofu to the pan. Give the pan a good stir. There's no need to cook too much further, we're simply combining the tofu with that delicious tomato sauce. Plate the tomato and tofu and serve with delicious fluffy white rice. You can now make this inspired tomato tofu recipe with absolute confidence. This recipe is too good to be true, but hey, this is only half the episode. I'm going to show you a fantastic way to cook a side of broccoli that will go really well with this in a matter of minutes. When I first began this small cooking show on YouTube, there would have been no way I ever would have imagined sending out cookbooks and ramen bowls around the globe. So I'm so thrilled that Shopify is today's episode sponsor. There's an old Asian belief that every item that is sent out to customers is like sending out a part of you. So much pride has gone into building the experience of this cooking show, and Shopify is a big part of that journey. Their platform has been an invaluable tool for us to essentially open up shop to customers around the world without any prerequisites in building websites. Take for instance the official Young Man Cooking ceramic ramen bowls. After designing and having the bowls produced, some really awesome photographs were taken of the bowls, then they were uploaded onto the Young Man Cooking online shop and ready to make its way into kitchens around the world. Whether offering digital or physical goods, Shopify's user-friendly platform makes launching new products a breeze. If you've been thinking about testing the waters with Shopify, there's a free trial you can check out found in the link in the description box below, or you can visit shopify.com/youngmancooking. Now let's make that life-changing broccoli. No need to wash the pan, just give it a quick wipe. Chop about 370 grams of broccoli into large, bite-sized pieces. To prevent making a mess on the cutting board, slice halfway and pull apart. Saute pan back on medium heat. 1 teaspoon avocado oil. Broccoli. Spread out the broccoli. Let the broccoli sear for 1 minute. This will add delicious flavor and color. Give the broccoli a toss. Add a 1/4 cup of water and immediately place on the lid. The trapped steam is extremely hot and will cook that broccoli perfect in about 45 seconds. The hardest part is not to peek. Careful not to overcook and serve right away while it's steaming hot. Sprinkle with salt and a drizzle of toasted sesame oil. You can now enjoy this colorful meal with absolute confidence. This is such a visually pleasing dish. Look at that. Wow, that is so delicious. It is just beyond words. Visually, you get this stunning palette of colors with that bright green from the broccoli, that golden glow from the tofu and that turmeric, the warm red tone from the tomatoes, and that pearly white from the amazing fluffy rice. That soft, tender texture from the tofu just goes so well with that rich tomato sauce. There's a little saltiness, and you get that sweetness from the cane sugar that also balances out the bit of acidity from the tomatoes. When you enjoy that luscious sauce with the rice, it just gets absorbed and it's so comforting. That black salt really adds that subtle, almost eggy flavor, and that broccoli is perfectly cooked, has that beautiful bright green color and that delicious crunch. It's incredible to have the natural juices from the tomatoes turn into this amazingly delicious sauce, and that bit of potato starch just helps lift up the viscosity of the tomato sauce. This is definitely one of those comforting dishes that's just so delicious, easy to make, so casual. You can just mix everything around there and enjoy it the way that you want to. It's recipes like this that I always say makes it so exciting to cook at home. If you love easy, delicious recipes like me, then definitely check out or pick up your copy of one of the 3 Young Man Cooking cookbooks. There is a print or digital version of these books. You can also check out the digital sushi masterclass, or of course those ceramic ramen bowls, all in the link in the description box below, or you can visit youngmancooking.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, remember to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. If you're not already subscribed with that notification bell clicked, definitely do so. I'll see you in the next episode.